I should have started recording video content about 3 hours ago, and I have been procrastinating since then. So this really seems like an appropriate time to talk about what I have learned so far creating these videos. I've been doing this for almost half a year now. Let's get into it. I already had multiple attempts at creating videos for YouTube in the past, but every single time I stick to that habit for a little bit, but then I failed. But now, since September, I've been able to consistently create videos on a weekly basis. So what has changed since then? So I have done some reflection on the things that I have done differently this time, and I noted down a couple of things that I think contributed to the fact that I've been able to consistently create video content this time without falling off the wagon. So let's get into these points. I think one of the most important things why I have been able to stick to this habit this time is that I started batching tasks together. So each Wednesday is my creative day. It's a day that's blocked off in my calendar where I solely work on anything creative, for example, these videos. One Wednesday, for example, I will be focused on coming up with ideas for these videos. And that will be the only focus for that day regarding these videos. The next Wednesday, I will be focused on scripting different videos so that they are ready to record. And the Wednesday after that, I will record these videos that have been ideated, scripted, and are now ready to record, so I can record multiple videos on one day. By doing it this way, this also means that I have a buffer of videos for the days or the weeks that I didn't really feel like recording a video altogether. And believe me, these days will happen. So it's always good to have a couple of videos as a buffer if you want to stick to your schedule. Another thing that goes into making it way easier to routinely create these videos is having a very good process. So for the creation of these videos, I'm basically using two different tools. On the one hand, I have Notion, where I come up with ideas for videos, where I then try to rate each of these ideas to figure out how good of an idea this actually is and if it's worth making a video about it. Then I also have a process with checklists for how these videos need to be created. And this is also when things move to Asana, because Asana is the tool that I use for collaboration with other people as well. Within Asana, the video will be split up in different tasks, like for example recording A-roll, recording B-roll, then having a first draft edit, having a final edit, and these things all come together in Asana, the review of these edits as well. But this is like a fixed process, and this makes sure that each video can be created very efficiently without the need of having to figure out what you need to do every single time. This also goes into the next point, and that is, if you can work with other people to make this process more efficiently, you definitely should. So for example, for these videos, I started working with an editor, and especially for this kind of video, I think it's very efficient to work with an editor because editing takes a lot of time, and it's something, if you can outsource it, I think you definitely should. Because my editor, for example, is definitely better at creating graphics for these videos, way better than I would ever be in this. But on the other hand, there are also videos where you want to create a story while you are editing. So for example, when you're doing a vlog, then it will be a bit more difficult, I think, to work with an editor because you have an idea about the story that you want to tell about your day, for example. And you will be filming along the way. It's something that I did while I was in New York to really try out this format. I'll link the video up here. I think for that kind of video, it's a bit more difficult to work with external people to actually do the edit for you because you want to tell your own story, you want to have your own voice in there, and in that case, that voice will come through in the edit itself rather than while you are in front of the camera talking. So if you have a really structured format, like for example these videos where I explain the things that I learned, these are very easy to outsource to an editor. Make sure that you take advantage of this and actually do that. The next very important point is that I abandoned perfectionism and just started doing things. So the first videos, feel free to go back to like the first video in this channel where I'm talking in front of a camera. Actually, I'll link that one up here as well so you can see. It will be a pretty big difference between that video and how I am on camera for that video and this exact video. And that's just because the only way that you can learn how to be better at something is by actually doing it. So start creating these videos, make sure that you learn something every single time. Even if you think this video is not perfect or that it could be better, that doesn't really matter. Like, the most important thing is that you just do it and that you try to stick to a habit so that you routinely get better at these things. And then it's also good to, after each video, look back at the video, see what you can learn, and try to change one small thing in every single video. And this way, you will incrementally get better at recording these videos. You will incrementally get better at talking in front of a camera. This way, your channel will improve, your videos will improve over time. And last but not least, I already gave a little hint at this earlier in the video. Nowadays, I try to gauge how well a video will do before I actually start recording it. So in the ID process, I will have a bunch of IDs and I will shortlist these. Once I shortlisted the ID, I will then try to gauge the success of the video on a couple of different aspects. These different aspects are gut feeling, search potential, and timeliness. The first one, gut feeling, speaks for itself. I have the title of the video, I have the idea of the video, what is my gut feeling of how this video will perform. The second one, search potential. YouTube being the second biggest search engine in the world, it is something that you have to consider. What are the things that people are actually searching for, and how will your video come up with an answer for those different searches? And then the last one, timeliness. Is this something of an interesting topic? For example, right after the MacBook Pro came out, the new MacBook Pro, the 14-inch M1 Pro MacBook Pro, it would be an interesting time to create a review video about these new MacBooks, because a lot of people will be looking for these reviews because it's timely. It's something new, people want to learn about it and want to see if it's something that they need to consider buying. Another example is the Remarkable video that I did on the Remarkable 2. And in this video, I basically learn in retrospect. This video did really well compared to like other videos in my channel, and the reason being is that Remarkable does a lot of social advertising, but for example, when I bought my Remarkable in the beginning of last year, there weren't really any good reviews about the Remarkable 2. When I created my review video of the Remarkable 2, it got a lot of attention from people, and that's basically because of supply and demand. So there's a lot of demand, a lot of interest created by these social ads that Remarkable is doing, but there isn't a lot of supply in these videos to actually show to these people. So I believe that that's one of the biggest reasons why this video did really well. In general, it will be very good to gauge your IDs on these three aspects to then figure out which videos you should make first. Hopefully this was interesting, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye!